Good evening. Welcome to the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners meeting of June 9th, 2021. This meeting will now come to order. We will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our inspirational word for the day comes from James. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Commissioner Lundy.
I am here.
Okay. We will begin the evening with a resolution.
Number 1, investments.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, please call. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 2, appropriations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 3, transfers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 4, advances and repayments. None. Number 5, requisitions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Number 6, travel. There were none. Number 7, bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
The next item of business is number 8, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within the jurisdiction of the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners. At the conclusion of today's board meeting, the commissioners may recess into an executive session to discuss personnel and new hires and board appointments. The next item of business is number 9. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter in a 2021 participation agreement with Corsa, effective May 1st, 2021 through April 30th, 2024. Corsa provides a joint self-insurance pool to assist members to prevent and reduce losses and injuries to members' property which might result in claims being made in accordance with the House Bill 875.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the Office of the Sanitary Engineer, the next item of business is number 10.
Approve and enter an emergency contract with American Earth Companies in the amount not to exceed $3,950 to excavate the sanitary lateral and remove blockage at 10179 Aldridge Drive, Columbia Township, and be paid from the sanitary repair maintenance account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? This is a sewer blockage within the public right-of-way, so we're not just, doing it for a particular homeowner. It's blocked. So, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the Workforce Development Agency. The next item of business is number 11.
Approve the interagency agreement with Lorraine County Port Authority for work experience payments to participants for wages paid and all other payroll-related expenses in the total amount not to exceed $911,473.25 to be paid from the WEO Adult Dislocated Youth Funds and CCMEP TANF Funds account.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 12.
Approve the now regional plan and the WEA Area 4 local plan as required under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. This plan is effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2025, and is required to be reviewed at the end of the first 2-year period to reflect any applicable changes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 13.
Approve and enter a WHEEL sub-grant agreement with Ohio Department of Job and Family Services effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, to define the roles and responsibility of the parties with respect to the funds allocated to Lorraine County workforce area by ODJFS for the administration of workforce development activities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
The next item of business is number 14.
Approve an MOU with Lorraine County Community College Aspire Program to assist the Workforce Development Agency in providing academic skill supplement for employment and training services to participants defined in need by staff of Ohio Means Jobs. WDA will reimburse the College Aspire program when invoiced to cover all costs incurred, not to exceed $38,566, to be paid from the WIA Adult Dislocated Youth and CCMEP TANF Funds account, effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to domestic relations. The next item of business is number 15. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter a renewal operating agreement between Airmark Correctional Services LLC, Pennsylvania, to provide food service for the detention home and facilities complex. Said price of meal is determined by market basket CPI to be paid from the contract services account, effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the Office of the Engineer. The next item of business is number 16. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution into the record.
Approve and enter an LPA federal local let project agreement with Odot to administer the design, qualifications for bidders, competitive bid letting, construction, and inspection of the Holly Road Bridge number 823 replacement project. Authorize the engineer to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors' approval as to form.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Next item of business is number 17.
Approve and enter an LPA federal local let project agreement with ODOT to administer the design, qualification for bidders, competitive bid letting, construction, and inspection of the Peck Wadsworth Road Bridge number 783 placement project. Authorize engineer to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 18.
Award contract to Melway Paving Company, Holmesville, Ohio, in the amount of $714,147 for the 2021 countywide chip and seal program. 6 bids were received, this being the most responsive complying with specifications. Engineer's estimate was $851,014.60. This project is being funded 100% with MVGT funds. Participating townships will reimburse the engineer for work performed on the township roads. Issue notice to proceed letter will begin July 1st, 2021, and complete September 15, 2021. Authorize county administrator to notify the auditor to release retainage at completion of project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? That was a lot, Madam Clerk.
A lot.
Yes. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is number 19.
Receive and journalize the county's engineer's annual report on the condition of ditches under County Maintenance Fund for the year 2021, and authorize the auditor to assess for maintenance for the year 2022, tax lien year 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Any discussion from the board? Madam Clerk, does the engineer post this online so people can see?
No, but I can ask him.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, you guys good?
Yeah, I guess I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner?
I'm good.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, lobby session. Welcome to the lobby portion of our meeting. In order to speak on the topic of your choice, you will have had to fill out a slip and turn it into the clerk. Please stay seated until you're called. When you're called up, you'll need to state your name and address clearly for the record, which then you will have 3 minutes to speak on the topic of your choice. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody that would like to speak at lobby session?
I have not received anything.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, folks. We appreciate it. It's nice to see people again. So thank you. Okay, moving on to reports. County Administrator Tom Williams.
Good evening, Commissioners. I do have one item in executive session I need to talk to you about. So regarding economic development, potentially a $100 to $140 million project that's coming through. Going to need some assistance, and that's allowable under the executive session material. So just real quick, there's a gentleman, I think everyone knows him, Sam Felton. They're going to be naming a park after him, Central Park in the city of Lorraine. While I was a commissioner, when I first met him, Sam and I didn't hit it off pretty well. It's over to Valor Home when they were going to go into St. Joe's. And then over time, me and Sam kind of sat down, saw eye to eye, and then we were able to get the project moving where Valor Home is today. But in that, got to really get to know Sam as a person and his dedication to the community, to the younger individuals, even my son, always willing to go to his school in order to do reports to let the younger generation know about the veterans, and just a very kind individual, great heart, and always looking out for the veterans, but also the community. So it's a great honor for his family. I think it's well deserved, and just wanted to bring that out to everyone, let them know that that is going to happen, and just appreciative that they're doing, honoring such a great man. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to Assistant County Prosecutor, Mr. Dan Petticord. Do you have a report for us this evening?
I do not, but I do have a twist on the public records request. I have one matter to discuss with you that is current litigation, and then I have a matter to discuss with the board that fits under another exemption, which is something that's required to be kept confidential by federal or state law.
Okay, so can I just lump it all under current litigation?
You can.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, moving on to Commissioners' reports. Fellas, if you don't mind, I'll go first. Sure. Is that okay? Okay. Yesterday, the Commissioners had the opportunity to attend the Carvana ribbon cutting event. On behalf of the Lorraine County Board of Commissioners, we congratulate Carvana on the successful construction of this regional distribution facility. The company was looking for a site between the New York, New Jersey area and Chicago, and we not only welcome but appreciated the opportunity to compete for this project. It's a $23 million facility in Elyria Township, and it is the result of a truly collaborative effort between Carvana, Jobs Ohio, Team NEO, the Ohio Department of Transportation, the Lorraine County Engineers Office, Elyria Township, the City of Elyria, the City of Lorraine, and the Lorraine County Community Development Department. It took all of these organizations working together to reach an outcome that will create 400 new jobs for the county. This project is a testament to just how much we can achieve when we work together, build partnerships, and push for the future we all want to see in Lorraine County. In Kipton news, at the Village of Kipton council meeting on Monday evening, Mayor Bob Mylander reported that upon much deep and thoughtful reflection, he has decided to reconsider his decision to retire from his elected position as mayor of Kipton. He has served for 14 years as the mayor of Kipton and currently has a remaining of just a little over 2 years, maybe 2 years and 6 months left on his term as mayor. Mayor Mylander indicated that he received many calls and spoke to many people once they had seen the article in the newspaper and that people were very disappointed. He said that he felt it was in the best interest of the residents of Kipton that he stay on as mayor, and we certainly are pleased and grateful to continue our great working relationship that we have with Mayor Mylander. As the administrator mentioned, I'm going to bookend the Samuel Felton Park News. Lorraine City Council on Monday unanimously approved the renaming of Lorraine Central Park to the Samuel L. Felton Jr. Central Park. This change is to honor the life and service of one of Lorraine's most distinguished veterans. Samuel L. Felton Jr. gave of himself in the service to his country, receiving the Navy Cross for his heroic action, and when he returned from war, Mr. Felton gave of himself to the betterment of his community, continuing to serve veterans through his actions and deeds. Mr. Felton was named Lorraine's Veteran of the Year in 2010, and 2019 was inducted into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. He was a lifelong Lorraine resident and active in numerous veterans and civic groups. He passed away in May 2020 at the age of 70. Mr. Felton's service and life will forever be memorialized for future generations to come. And then moving on, attention Lorraine County veterans, you may have seen the ads in the local newspapers, on social media, Our Lorraine County Veteran Services Office is holding a free spaghetti dinner on Tuesday, June 15th, from 5 to 7 at the American Legion Post 12 at 393 Ohio Street, Elyria. The dinner service is limited to the first 500 Lorraine County veterans, their spouse, and children under 18. The Veterans Commissioners are reaching out to engage and get veterans involved in our community to ensure that they receive every benefit available to them. It's also a great way to meet with your Veterans Commissioners and encourage each other and engage in fellowship. As we all know, this last year with the COVID-19 pandemic has left many feeling isolated and at home. So, and also just a reminder, if you're going to head out to that dinner, to bring your Veterans ID with you. Yesterday, I attended the Lorraine County Solid Waste Management District Policy Committee meeting, on which I'm a board member, and I have a few items to report from the meeting. Many of you may know, but for those of you that don't, David Covell, he is our Lorraine County Health District Commissioner, and he's also our Lorraine County Solid Waste Management District Policy Committee Chairman. He announced he will be retiring at the end of 2021. Another item of note in the meeting, the EPA awarded the district grant funds in the amount of $44,791 to be used for a tagging program in the city of Oberlin with the objective of reducing recycling contamination, and a standalone paper shredder for the collection center to allow for the shredding of personal documents at the time of collection from the residents at the center, and to free up the shred truck for more community events and get them out there on the community events. Another item, the Solid Waste District is partnering with the City of Lorraine and Republic Services to do a tagging program focusing on one specific route, which services 7,700 households in the City of Lorraine, with the intention of educating the residents on recycling rate and reducing contamination rates. And then we also had a report from Director Dave Blevins, and he talked about the issues that they're having with the recycling and the regular garbage being thrown in with the recycled items, or folks thinking that something is recyclable that's not recyclable, and what happens then, the recycle bin then becomes contaminated with items that are considered regular trash items. And so Director Blevins made the request to me to remind the Lorraine County residents when it comes to recycling and reducing contamination rates to use the old adage, when in doubt, throw it out. And then my last item, on the requisitions this evening, the board passed the general encouragement funds for the Lorraine County Fair. For the public's information, in the recent past, The Lorraine County Fair received support from the Lorraine County Commissioners in the amount of about $3,300 per year. The new board received a letter from the Fair Agricultural Society outlining the changes in the Ohio Revised Code, which I will go over as I explain the dollar amounts. Lorraine County's total support amount is $200,000, and of that, we had already set aside the $3,300 for the fair. So you see on our requisitions tonight an additional $196,700. $131,000 is going towards the junior fair. The Lorraine County Fair supports one of the largest junior fair programs in the state. 11 barns house 4-H animals and projects, and the grounds are used for events throughout the year. Dedicated students and leaders help to make the Lorraine County Fair a success each and every year. Ohio Revised Code provides for $1,600 to be used to support the senior fair, which comprises of the governing body of the fair board. $64,100 is reserved for what is called general encouragement, which assists with the costs related to the operation of the fair. With the COVID-19 pandemic last year, and the restrictions and the lost revenue, the Ohio legislature passed House Bill 665 on April 12, 2021. In that legislation, it provides, quote, "The Board of County Commissioners shall, on the request of the County Agricultural Society, annually appropriate from the general fund not less than $1,500 for the purpose of encouraging agricultural fairs," close quote. So this is where the term general encouragement dollars comes from. The Lorraine County Board of Commissioners is pleased to offer assistance for the operation of the fair, and I'm sure the public will be happy to enjoy the sights and the smells and the memories that we make and our families make every year at the fair. And as you may remember, 2020 was supposed to be the 175th year celebration, and of course that had to be postponed. So we look forward as a community to celebrating the 175th anniversary of the Lorraine County Fair this August. So I believe that this funding is an investment in our youth, our community, and in our county, a county who values itself and its rich agricultural history. And it's through programs like the Lorraine County Fair that we continue to showcase our county and demonstrate that we put Lorraine County residents first. That concludes my report. Commissioner Lundy, do you have a report this evening?
Sure. Yeah, I'll just follow up on that. I just realized that with the legislature passing this, a lot of caps came off on support for the fair. I think in the past there was a requirement for insurance, which was about $3,300. And I know the previous board also was supporting trophies for some of the 4-H students, and always very supportive of the students in the 4-H program. While I've had some disagreements with the board on the marketing of the Confederate flag, which is a symbol of hate and recently, I guess you could say, insurrection, that I've always encouraged residents to support our students, support the 4-H program. This is an investment in the junior fair and the senior fair, and it's an investment that hopefully will be a return to some sense of normalcy. So also wanted to point out that as it relates to Sam Felton, I always said he was a big man with a big heart. So it's good to see that Mayor Bradley and Lorraine Council are stepping up to name a park after Sam. Just was always great to work with, very big advocate and a great voice for the veterans in Lorraine County. Carvana, I mean, how often does the county get to talk about adding 400 jobs, whether it's in Ohio or any county across the nation? It's very rare that government gets to announce 400 jobs coming to an area. But a lot of work went into that behind the scenes, and I want to thank former County Administrator Jim Cordes, my former colleagues, Sharon Sweda, Laura Kokoski, Mayor Kozura as well, too, who was the mayor of Lorraine. A lot of folks don't realize how, that project could have ended with some type of annexation, but instead of annexation, there were a lot of morning breakfasts I know that used to take place between Mr. Cordes and Joe Kozura, And as I understand, Jim had to buy a lot of bacon and eggs so they could work through it. But at the end of the day, no annexation and a JED and basically 6 governmental entities when you think about it. You've got the county, you've got Elyria Township, Elyria, Lorraine, the state, and don't forget the schools too. They were a part of those negotiations. So for everybody to come together on the same page is certainly, I think, a textbook in how government should be operating, working together, as has been pointed out, to get the job done. A $23 million investment, just not happening a lot in this economy, so we're really blessed and thankful. $13 million payroll, and also had the opportunity to speak with Jim Rebick, the general manager there. Apparently, this is a gentleman who used to work at the Ford plant. He was at the Ford plant in Lorraine, also in a supervisory capacity at the Ohio Assembly plant there in Avon Lake. And he was in Arizona, and he wanted to have the opportunity to come back. And I think it shows the great quality of life that we have here. I'm sure there's a lot of folks who think that why would somebody want to move from Arizona to the cold weather of northern Ohio? But he was eager to get back here, and it's good to see that the local leadership is going to be there at the Carvana facility. Also had the opportunity to attend the Genesis House event that they had called the Silent Witness Exhibit. Very disturbing when you walk down the hallway and you see the exhibit of basically information about all the women and children who have died at the hands of domestic abuse. It brings to light the importance of how we need to support Genesis House, how we need to support those who are victims of domestic violence, how we need to get those who commit domestic violence into these programs so they can deal with their anger management and not lead and escalate to the point where they end up killing someone and hopefully get their lives back together. But fatality rates within domestic violence are staggering. Statistically, approximately 3 women a day in the U.S. are murdered by a current or ex-partner. Every 15 minutes, a woman is abused by someone who is supposed to love and respect them. So we hope you'll support the Genesis House and all they do. They play a very vital role in our community. Finally, the Community Protection Team met again this week. 67 active cases of COVID in the county. That's some of the lowest reporting numbers that we've seen, probably going all the way back to early last year. About 50% of the residents in the county now are vaccinated. There's a big push, obviously, to get those between 12 and 16 years of age vaccinated. This is the travel season, so the health department wants everybody to be very much aware that if you're going to travel, you may want to check on what the conditions are like and what the restrictions are if you're going to travel. That's important to take into account. And the county is really stressing about those who haven't been vaccinated to please reconsider and get vaccinated. The concern is that just the J&J allotment alone, 1,300 units of J&J will basically expire by the end of the month. So the hope is that we can get those into people's arms. I guess under the way the state is operating and the agreement with the federal government, it's not like we can ship this someplace else to be used. I know that's hard to believe, but we either use it or lose it, believe it or not. So if you haven't received your shot yet, or you know a loved one who hasn't, or a neighbor, please encourage them to do so. And just finally, I guess I'd like to point out, I saw our new newsletter, and I had this conversation earlier with the administrator. It's just, I would just ask in the future that I get a chance to see the newsletter before it actually goes out in the mail. Did not get a chance to see a proof, and I think from a professional point of view, I'd want to make sure that my colleagues had a chance to look at something before it went out that had their name and their picture with it. So in the future, I'll need to see a proof of the newsletter before it goes out in the mail. And that completes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Lundy. Commissioner Moore, do you have a report?
Excuse me. Yes, thank you. Number one, it was at a meeting this afternoon with State Auditor Keith Faber. It's the second time the State Auditor has visited Lorraine County. Always a pleasure to host and have private discussions with some of our state officials. On Friday, I had a meeting with the new executive director of the Mars board, which is Michael Dowd. He started June 1st. We discussed several issues facing our county. He has 30 years' experience in Cuyahoga County. It looks like the board made the right decision. He seems very sincere, and he's ready to get to work. We talked quite a bit about the crisis center and kind of shared some of the views that we had, some of the views of the Mars board, and some of the other issues that are facing Lorraine County, and discussing how we're done talking. It's time to build. I had a meeting today with with Lakata and the Nord Center also in regards to the crisis center. Everybody seems to be on board. They like this. They like what they see. There is now movement moving forward, and now it's time to start building the team of people that are going to be participating financially and actually physically in managing and taking care of our residents that need it, such as drug and alcohol, mental illness, and other issues Commissioner Lundy discussed. It was a good meeting, and it looks like I said, I think the experience this man brings to the table is he's done this in Cuyahoga County. So I think the Mars board is chosen well and are in good hands. Monday, there was a meeting out at the Lorraine County Community College. It was nice. I got to talk to the president, Marcia Ballinger, who I haven't seen in a while, and Tracy Green. And it was a meeting that was put on by the Jobs Ohio. Bill Kohler, the executive director for Team Neal, was kind of leading it. We had Jobs Ohio, Tyler Yapel there with Director of Government Affairs, External Engagement, Darnita Bradley, and Renee Ligon. They actually want to do some follow-up work. State reps Dick Stein, Gail Manning, and Senator Nate Manning were there also. And basically there was a lot of discussion in synergies and how government agencies can work together. And they do provide a lot of help with site development in other areas. Summit County has built a very strong nonprofit that brings private sector and government and nonprofits together. I'll be looking at Summit County's program that they have there and seeing how that concept seems to be working quite well in Summit County. So there's some outside of the box work being done there, which was very interesting. And they were talking about some of the top, 20 programs that they've done here in Lorraine County. So it was a very interesting meeting. Very interesting that they kind of had the same concept I do when it comes to business and teamwork, and it was a very good dialogue. They plan on coming back out to talk some more. Afterwards, I was talking to Tracy Green in regards to Glide. It's kind of rare in office when you're in public office, but in 2001, it was March 1st when I was commissioner last time, and the problem we were facing is I found about $6.5 million in excess funds. So when you have excess cash and you tax people, how do you get that money back? So we created an economic development program that actually received national awards. And what was amazing to me is, once you're out of office, I really, I kept an eye on it just to see, but I wouldn't go to they had several meetings there, and I just kind of said, you know what, I'm a private individual. I didn't want to come back. So I went back. It's been 20 years. And it's amazing what has happened in 20 years from one idea. Number one, we created this incubator for the next frontier. About a couple months later, Governor Taft came up with this idea called the third frontier, and he kicked it off in Lorraine County because the college always seems to be the first at a lot of innovative and creative ways for economic development. So it was really kind of interesting to walk through and to see something that was done bipartisan. She sent me the numbers on a text, so I got to pull it up this way. And just to give you guys some interesting information, what a $2.5 million investment from Lorraine County in association with the college what has happened. They assisted over 6,800 entrepreneurs, 250 client companies, 200 are still advancing. 48 of them are incubated there with more than $350 million in follow-up investment. It created over $89 million in payroll, over 1,000 jobs created, and these are jobs in the $50,000 to $70,000 range, and it started in 2001. As Glide started to grow, what happened next is people need money, especially investment capital. So they created in 2007, because of Glide, a thing called the Innovation Fund. What's interesting is that there was over 287 awarded to 246 companies with over $15 million that was awarded to these companies, and from the Ohio Third Frontier and private matching funds. So far, that there's like $598 million that follow up on funding for 885 jobs. But the fact is that Third Frontier, they just got the last bit of this, and that Third Frontier was created in 2001 by the state, and it's just finishing up. So in 20 years, it's amazing what Lorraine County did in partnership with the college on a bipartisan effort, that something is alive and well today, creating amazing things. So when you go through this tour, if you ever want to go through the tour of Glide, people throughout the Midwest come here. The auto dealer, like not dealers, the automobile manufacturers, the high-tech companies. It is amazing what is out at our community college. It is something you would not, I mean, I got to say this because Tom's not here, but even the University of Michigan uses some of the assets at our college. And so does Purdue. I think, no, you're not Purdue, are you? Okay.
No public schools.
Oh, excuse me. So it was very interesting, because a lot of times you don't get to see the positive effects that some of the things that you can do in government. And this was really, it was a nice, solid partnership. So when I was talking with Team Neo about some of their ideas and partnerships, I told them that, look, I'll keep an open mind. I want to take a look at what Summit County's doing. And it's basically, I think, what we're already doing here, which is breaking down barriers. As you heard with Carvana, everyone starts working together, positive things can happen. Let's see, I gotta make sure I hit all this stuff up. Again, congratulations on Kipton Mayor Bob Mylander. What really happened was he is the ORP Central Committee man for the 13th District. You cannot serve and hold an elected office, so he made a choice. I believe he made the right choice. He does a great job out in Kipton. He's been there for 14 years, and I commend him on the work that he's doing and wish him well as he continues that positive work. Let's see. I just want to correct something that was said earlier in Commissioner Lundy's report. I don't think he meant it. When he said that the Fair Board was marketing the Confederate flag, I believe one vendor was selling it. So I believe that was probably not a proper statement to say that the Lorraine County Fair Board was marketing the Confederate flag. I hope you didn't mean that. But it was, they did have one vendor out there. So I just want to make sure words are important, because I do know the board was not marketing that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Moore. Our next item is F, the clerk's report. Madam Clerk, do you have a report?
I do not.
Okay. Our next item is G, board correspondence. I move to waive the reading of the board correspondence due to an executive session we have scheduled.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Hung?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
At this time, I move to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel issues, employment and new hires, current litigation, and potential projects.
Second.
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Hung?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
We return from executive session, and our meeting is back in session. I move to approve the personnel summary sheet.
Second?
Motion was made by Hung, seconded by Moore. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, at this time, I make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second?
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
I move to amend Resolution 21-193.
Second?
Madam
Clerk, please call the roll.
Sorry,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, we got this, don't worry. We got
Discussion.
it.
You want a discussion?
Is there any further discussion?
Thank you.
Sorry. Are we just amending that number that's on there, not
But
amending the
we-
whole thing,
No,
correct?
right, we'll be amending that resolution, and the next motion will tell you, the next one will tell you which, because in the book, you have to move to strike the line.
Okay. Sorry.
It's Robert's fault.
The motion to amend allows the next
Okay.
motion.
All right. Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, I move to strike number 3 under Commissioners on Resolution 21-193.
Line number 3.
Line number.
Line number 3 under Commissioners.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, number 3 under Commissioners on Resolution 21-193.
I will second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hung?
Yes.
Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Okay, meeting announcements. We have a public hearing scheduled for Tuesday, June 15th at 9:30 a.m. And our next regularly scheduled board meeting is Wednesday, June 16th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Is there any further business, commissioners? Since there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.